Well, hello and welcome to Little State Big Voices with myself, Shahida, and my fabulous co-host Tracy. How you doing?
Hey y'all.
So I don't know if I should say Happy Victory Day because in Rhode Island, the only state in the United States that celebrates this day, it is Monday. What's the date today? The 8th?
The 11th, August 11th.
Damn, I'm way off. I wish it was the 8th because time is flying by too fast. So it's celebrated the second Monday of August, and is the end of World War II, and we're the only state that celebrates it.
Well, literally when you were like Victory Day, I got concerned because I thought that was like some kind of new Tea Party holiday or something.
It's close enough because a certain faction has been trying to get rid of it. It's specifically the surrender of Japan, and the surrender of Japan came with what? The bombing
The bombing.
of Hiroshima. So we're
Yeah.
celebrating actually that, and so people want to. Is like I said, a faction of people that want to get rid of it. I will take any holiday. Doesn't necessarily mean I'm celebrating why, but I don't have to work today.
Hold on. Let's back the train up.
Mhm.
Does this mean you get a paid day off?
Yes. For a lot of Rhode Island businesses, it's state, so it's not federal.
Really?
My job, it's a paid day off.
Do tell. I
So
thought you were
other
playing
states
hooky.
have gotten rid of it, like, in the '40s. So, like I said, Rhode Island is the only one that keeps it, which I don't understand why, but we have Juneteenth now. So a lot of people saying, "Well, you have Juneteenth, you can get rid of this day." And I do not celebrate bombing Hiroshima, but I don't wanna get rid of this one holiday we have in August.
So you remember my theory about holidays is let's stop taking days off for events and let's just have one Monday off a month for the whole year.
Oh, no, I didn't know that's a good idea.
We had talked about this before. I forget what holiday we were talking about. I was like, and then there's no
Was it
scandal.
Columbus Day?
It might have been Columbus or Juneteenth or something. I'm just
Uh,
saying, if we just have a scheduled Monday once a month off, it's not tied to any religion. It's not tied to any specific historical event. It's just a day to freaking breathe because we work so much as Americans. I've talked about it before on the podcast, but I think we should just get rid of the traditional paid holidays. If you want to celebrate Columbus, go off, sis. No, but let's keep Easter, Thanksgiving, Christmas. Let's keep those.
but you just say get rid of the religious
Get rid of the
holiday,
other stupid stuff. President's Day,
but somebody might
freaking
consider Easter
no.
the way that
You don't
it's
get a day off for
celebrated.
Easter. You don't really get a day off for Easter. So I'm saying like you can keep the other stuff, but don't tie it to a day off and just give the day off. Do you feel me? Like you can keep all of the other pomp and so you don't get a day off for Easter, but you do get Black Friday off for Thanksgiving. Let's keep that. You know what I mean? You do get a day off for Christmas and Christmas Eve sometimes. Let's keep that. But the rest of it, scratch it all off.
Go scratch Juneteenth, which I feel like is that I wanna celebrate.
But do it on a Saturday then. You know what I'm saying? Just make it a Saturday.
No, I like that it comes on a Thursday.
It's not always a
I
Thursday.
know, but I'm just saying this year was on a Thursday, it broke up my week. I appreciate that.
I celebrate being Black every day. So, I
Well, there's
mean,
flaws in that, but I get what you're saying. I get
yeah, I'm like, let's just because so my theory is that historical events will continue to happen. We'll want to commemorate things. So I mean, for example, we have a new day that's being added in Boston. We can celebrate any number of things that we want to celebrate,
Oh, so
but
are they gonna make that like a city holiday?
it's not a
Oh,
city
tell us
holiday.
about it.
But
What is it? What do you go ahead and tell, people about it.
yeah, so I didn't even mean to like break off your whole Victory Day celebration, but
No,
I
I'm not
literally
celebrating Victory Day. I'm happy to be home
I literally
on a
thought
Monday.
it was some kind of new GOP
Mm.
crazy thing that just started. So I'm glad to know it's an old crazy thing that we had from before. But what I'm alluding to is the upcoming August 30th celebration of the epic boy band New Edition.
Mhm.
So they're actually going to commemorate them with a block party, and they're naming a street after them on August 30th in Boston. And it's going to take place on the corner of Ambrose and Albany Streets at 10 a.m. And that's followed by a block party at 11 a.m., which is going to be mayhem. I just imagine the entire city is going to descend on on this intersection. The block party, I think, is going to be at the Boys and Girls Club, but I just feel like Orchard Park is going to be lit on August 30th. And that's why I wore this shirt today.
Mm.
Ronnie, Bobby, Ricky, Mike, Ralph, and Johnny.
Yeah, I forgot Johnny came in at the
Yeah.
yeah.
We can't forget the whole crew.
Yeah. I like the original crew. Johnny was cool. Johnny was cool, but
Johnny
I
was
love
the
the original crew.
Johnny was the bridge though. If you think so, I'm not a historian on the subject. They're actually new edition historians, by the way.
Mhm.
But this is how I look at it. So where a lot of boy bands fall off is because they don't know how to transition properly from that immature stage to the mature stage.
Mhm.
So when I say immature, I'm talking about like Candy Girl, Mr. Telephone Man, the teeny bop phase, right? So Johnny was the bridge to the adult to their longevity for the adulthood. Because if you think about it, they couldn't carry on with those types of tunes. Like,
No.
Earth Angel, like that wasn't gonna fly when you're
Voices
25.
actually changed.
Their voices change exactly. So if you think about it, when Bobby left, and so actually Bobby, it was Bobby and then Johnny. So that was the mixture.
Mhm.
That was the potion. So Bobby left and just bad boy out the freaking gate, right? Tore it up and just had us in a chokehold. Shirt came off, Gumby hairstyle, just got
He was all
wild
80.
with it. The bumping, the grinding.
Mhm.
So it's like, okay, now what happens to New Edition? Like, what happens to that group? They've got to, in order to sustain, they've got to do something different. Belle Biv DeVoe, right? So
Mhm.
you got Belle Biv
Very good.
DeVoe. But before that, they brought Johnny in to give that bass in there. And actually Ricky's an unsung hero too, because if you think about Ricky, he's an amazing vocalist.
Mhm.
And when he went to Belle Biv DeVoe, so it was like Mike, Ricky, and Ronnie, he brought that sultry, that sexy that was needed, right? And then Ronnie and Mike, they brought the hip hop element,
Mhm.
which was also another way to move over. But had it not been for Bobby leaving and going solo, they had to come up with the game plan. And anyone who watched the BET movie about the New Edition story, you see all of this transpiring. But I don't think it could have happened without Johnny.
So you don't think that if Bobby had stayed, that they would have just gone ahead and matured only because look at how his music changed.
Right.
See what I mean? He grew up and he had a whole different sound than when he was with New Edition. I think that they probably all would have kind of like grown together. I think they still would have been big if he just didn't decide that he wanted to go solo.
Well, the part about that too is like think about Ralph, right? Ralph was the man, right?
Mhm.
So it was New Edition, and we all loved the entire group. But Ralph was that lead singer, right?
Mhm.
He attempted a solo career and he had success, but it wasn't the level of success as when the six got together
Mhm.
and they did that. Like, remember the video they did when they were in the exercise studio and they had the workout gear? If It Isn't Love. And then they're all dancing and then they
I remember
turn
the
around.
song. I don't remember the video.
If It Isn't Love. So that was like, oh my God, who are these grown men? Oh my God. So yeah, I mean, it's all of it. And then Mike Bivins breaking off to be a mogul, starting his own groups, ABC, Boys to Men. And my husband said this morning, because we were talking about this, he was like, Mike Bivins is kind of like a Berry Gordy if you really want to make a comparison. I was like, that was deep. You know what I mean?
I didn't know he founded Boys to Men.
Yeah, girl.
Did not know
Yes.
that. Did not know, and that was a freaking I love them.
Yeah. So if it hadn't been for that initial break, you know what I mean? And then the thing is that, if you watch the story on the movie, Ralph, they tried to get Ralph to leave. When I say they, like the Hollywood machine, the entertainment machine, tried to get Ralph to go solo sooner when he was like at the peak of his young adult career. And he was like, no, these are my brothers. I would never do that to them.
Mhm.
And so it's all of it. It's just an amazing story. It's an amazing accomplishment. Just go to Boston, August 30th, Albany and Ambrose, watch New Edition get a street named after them, and turn up in a block party with Mayor Wu.
That's what I was gonna say. And who spearheaded this? Was it her?
It was Mayor Wu. Mayor Wu and her baby, listen, they've been outside. They've been
Boss,
outside.
I just gotta say, please do not let this Kraft person trick y'all into thinking that he is a Democrat on full
Right.
level, because
That part.
he is not. Ask yourself what he has done for the city of Boston and specifically minority groups in Boston. What has he done? And we haven't heard his name. And I love how Mayor Wu, what was it, last week? She did a press conference and she asked the Kraft family to specifically donate money to help these different programs, basically calling him out. Like, where have you been, sir? You
Right.
talk about running this city, and the fact that he wants to run as a Democrat, you know, he may be, but his father is a huge Trump supporter.
And of course, fiction is fiction, but if you watch the series Paradise, right? Do you remember that series? Paradise with Sterling K.
Oh
Brown.
yeah.
Okay. So do you remember when the president they like did a flashback when he was young and he was talking to his father and his father and he wanted to be a school teacher. He did not want to be president of the United States. He wanted to be a school teacher. And his father said, "Listen, you will be president. It's already set up.
Hmm.
Just let me know. Do you want to be a Republican or a Democrat? Because we're going to figure it out. We're just going to plug you in to the." And that blew my mind. That's like one of the things that stayed with me about that series is that it's cosplay. They're cosplaying different party roles when in reality the agenda is already set.
Yeah, yeah. We see
So that's
every
Josh
year.
Kraft. That's Josh Kraft in a nutshell. We never heard of this dude. He's pretty much banking off of his family name,
Mhm.
to because would we even know him really?
I mean, I've heard his name a lot, as far as like the family business or whatever, but I have not heard his name. And I don't live in Boston, so I can't proclaim to know what is going on in the city, but I have not heard his name in connection with any type of policy driven ideas, any type of community service ideas, other than what the Patriots themselves do solo to help, when they go out and they go out to what is it, Madison Park or whatever, to the schools and give out like pizza or lunches and these things. But I haven't heard him do anything specifically.
But this Mayor Wu, and honestly, like I think I said this on the podcast before, she was not my candidate of choice when she was running originally.
Mm,
But I support what she's doing and how she's trying to do it. It's a thankless job. Let's just be honest. Like being mayor of Boston, especially as a woman, especially as someone who's considered a minority class, a
mm,
mother as well, like someone who was out there pregnant during her term. Like, I do not envy what this woman probably gets thrown at her on a constant basis. But she comes out. She was at the opening of that new flower shop in Boston over the weekend, Black owned flower shop. She's out here really pushing initiatives. One thing I do not like is the bike lanes, but you know what? Sometimes you gotta take the good with the bad. And like,
I
ma'am,
like to
why
be
would you
there.
do this to the streets like this? But
I don't like I get you. I really don't like the bike lanes, but Boston is one of the top cities that really uses those bikes now. There
yeah.
there should be lanes specifically for them. I feel like Providence needs to do better with their lanes. Pawtucket doesn't have any. I don't think North Providence has any either. So if being outside and conserving energy is going to be part of the future, you have to invest in that.
Right. And it's not even just about conserving energy. I jest about this. I just think they're ugly. It's they serve a purpose. So one of the things that was pointed out when I was kind of looking at, why are they doing this with these bike lanes and all these city scooters, and it's a connectivity and a transportation issue in underserved communities. So
Mhm.
yes, you can take the MBTA. We have one of the best transit systems in Boston in the entire country, in the entire world. We've got an underground, we've got buses, and I mean crazy buses, like almost, not as close to New York as, but we're also a little smaller. But
Mhm.
it's also that every bus doesn't go everywhere. And Sometimes maybe a scooter will get you somewhere faster than connecting to 2, 3 buses or trying to get on a trolley or
Mm.
something like that. So it's also a matter of getting from A to B for employment, for childcare, for other things like that. So, it is also an energy thing. It's a green thing as well. So I just think, and people are so disrespectful because cars just run those little studs over and then they have to keep replacing them. But it is meant to serve the community. I understand why it's been done.
Speaking of that, I was reading, what was it, last week, the week before, when you talk about transportation, and that makes Boston the city that it is because we have such an excellent, and I say we because I still consider myself Bostonian too.
Yeah.
We have such an excellent transportation system. It has proposed to get rid of, like, think 48 lines out of,
I've seen that.
and
I've seen that.
absolutely. If you cannot be a progressive city if you don't have public transportation, and I wanna know what's behind all of this. I read a little bit. I haven't been to any of the meetings, which I am gonna to actually go to. They have quite a few coming up this fall, just to get some more information because it really doesn't make sense. Now, I know there are some lines where there might be like 1 or 2 people on the bus, granted, maybe those, but they're talking about really affecting a lot of Providence lines. And who does
Mm.
that affect? I mean, a lot of people in Providence don't have cars and do really rely on. I used to take the bus every single day to go to work, but I'm taking one line, 57, straight downtown. And I I loved taking the bus. I had my little bus friend that you see every morning and, or whatever, but that's really shocking, and if you wanna be a progressive city, you have to have transportation. New York does, Boston does. The cities that you see that don't have it struggle.
And we don't have trains here. We have the commuter rail, but we don't have subways in Rhode Island. I don't know if people understand that. And it's probably, I don't know if it has to do with geography or it's just too expensive now to start trying to have an underground.
Mhm.
But uh, I know people do rely on the buses. And Kennedy Plaza was always lit. When we first moved here and I was trying to help my kids get acclimated with like this is the bus you take to go to your school or whatever. But I also noticed that it's not very streamlined. If elimination means streamlining and getting from A to B faster, then okay, cut what you need to cut. But 48 sounds like a lot. I didn't even know there were 48 lines
Yeah,
in the state.
yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's the bus from Little Compton to Providence that they want to cut. I don't know what
That's what it
it
sounds
is.
like, some of those, but then I'm more concerned about the ones in Providence that they're talking
But
about.
it's financial. My understanding is that they're asking or need money, but I also see money for infrastructure going into other things. So I don't know if that money's earmarked for other things and they can't use it for RIPTA, but they did the sidewalk over on my street, which
Mhm.
is not even a main street, which thank you, City of Providence, for redoing our sidewalk because
And those are
our
the things
sidewalks
we need.
were awful. And they repaved Douglas. I don't know if you've been down Douglas near my house for a while. I mean,
Oh,
Douglas
yeah. Mhm.
is like smooth. It is so smooth. And they're redoing a lot of the sidewalks in my area. So, of course, the skeptic in me is like, well, why are they doing this? But I'm also grateful that it's being done. And like I said, maybe it's money that's been earmarked. And if they don't spend it, they lose it. So they're like, what can we do? Can we redo these little side streets or what have you? But it's great. It actually made me want to paint my door, which I haven't done yet. It made me want to like spruce up my front of my home for curb appeal because I was like, got this brand new sidewalk now. It's making the house look fabulous. We have to do more things. So it actually gave me a better sense of pride for my property that the city was taking an interest in making it look nicer.
So a lot of the cities in Providence actually got a lot of infrastructure money from the Biden administration. It's so funny
Mhm.
because in North Providence, they have a big sign that says, "This is infrastructure money from President President Biden," basically
Okay.
for whatever it is that they're doing. There are things now. We also have the big thing with the bridge that's taken away a lot of money that's has to be sent out again because it wasn't done right the first time, and
Mm.
nobody has been accountable for that. So now you're talking about making the citizens accountable for a mistake that the city and the state has made. I don't, and I know it is a loss of money, but we were just talking about Kennedy Plaza. When I was taking the bus, this is before COVID happened. There were so many events at Kennedy Plaza in the summertime. There would be jazz, they would have beer, they would have little concerts. We had food trucks every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday that would come out there. Not just one or two, but at least six or seven. And they would be packed. And I understand that COVID has affected a lot of things, but one of the things that has happened is that you again they've taken the community out of Kennedy Plaza. Now I agree
Mhm.
that there should be more hubs in different areas because to me it makes no sense when my son worked in Smithfield, which is 10 minutes from my house, would have to go all the way into Providence to take a bus to take him all the way back past his house to go into Smithfield. So there should be like
Yeah.
small hubs. It doesn't seem like to me, I'm not into city planning. I don't know. It doesn't seem like a lot of common sense was weaved into the planning of how RIPTA works. I get that it's a small state, so it is going to be, a little bit different. Whereas Boston, you have all kind of different hubs. You have Ashmont Station, you have,
Dudley Station, a
right, you have
huge hub.
different hubs
Ruggles.
of throughout the city where each bus line would meet so that not you're always like on the same line. You know what I'm saying? Whereas everything is on the same line because every bus goes to one location, which doesn't
Uh-huh.
make sense to me. But we'll see. We'll see how it does end up, turning.
Yeah. And to your point, that's what I mean about the streamlining. It's like to get 10 minutes up the street, you have to commute for an hour,
Yeah,
which
that
is
makes no
is
sense.
is bonkers. I mean, one thing I will say about RIPTA that I did like when I would take it, I honestly have not been on a RIPTA bus in probably 5 years.
Yeah, time.
But the last time I was on there, I was impressed by the mobile app that you could use to pay and tap and stuff like that. That was more advanced than Boston to me. I hadn't seen that on the T, but I
Mhm.
also hadn't been on the T in a while. But I used to take RIPTA from like Providence Place Mall area, like the Providence station, to take it to my house. And then after a while, I was like, you know what? Just go ahead and walk, girl, because it was a cast of characters that would be on that bus.
It was like either the 56 or the 57 because that's the 57 is what I would take. And there would be after 5 o'clock, it could get a little dicey sometimes on that 57. But during the working hours, it was very reliable. And literally, I'm the very first. Well, I'm actually the second stop, but I can walk to the first stop in the same amount of time, basically.
Yeah.
Very reliable. I don't think I've ever taken a bus that was as reliable as the 57 bus was.
But I'm concerned too about students because
Why?
one of the big things when the last time I watched the Rhode Island State of the Union, they were talking about truancy and kids not going to school. If you cut lines, especially around Providence, it's already, a challenge for them to get to school because my kids would, I think, take two buses to get to school. And if I drove, it was a 10-minute drive, just like you said, but it would be like an hour commute on the bus. So, by cutting more lines, you're just adding to the truancy issue, in my opinion, because if you're making it even harder for them to get to school, they're
Mhm.
gonna be late and they're gonna be like, forget it. Why bother?
And the thing is, too, it's like you think about the winter months when it's cold. Like we haven't gotten a lot of snow in the last couple of years, but we have gotten some like record breaking cold.
Yeah.
And you're waiting outside where you could literally go to your school or work in 10, 15 minutes. Now, like you said, now you're waiting outside. It's taking you an hour. We don't even know what the walking distance from where you get dropped off. Like more hubs, but I haven't been to any of the meetings, so I can't say 100%. But I don't think it's a very good decision to cut out that many lines.
Yeah. So were they saying lines or were they saying scheduled
Bus,
stops?
no bus route.
That's crazy. Yep.
So, I mean, yeah, it just doesn't seem to make sense. But again, have not been to the meetings. I'm listening to a state representative talk about it, and I feel like he's in the know. I don't know I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but And his specific issue was when he was a kid, he relied on that bus to take him to and from school.
It's a big deal. It's a big deal because parents have to go to work, and then when you get to a certain age, you don't get bus anymore. So
Mhm,
you're on your own to get to school.
mhm,
So I was, because I was a medical student, I had to bus my entire academic career.
mhm.
But, well, my high school and in elementary and middle school and on. But I'm like, if I had to take the bus, actually, when I went to college and I actually had to take the T to school, I was late I was late every day because there was no school bus. If I knew the school bus was coming to get me, girl, I would have been out there with bells on and I would have slept the whole bus ride and then, that kind of thing. But yeah.
I did take the bus I took the bus and the train. So I came from Mattapan and I was going to the South End. So I would get take the bus to Mattapan, go to Dudley, get on the train, and then go to what station was that? Was it Dover Station? I think it was Dover Station that I would get off to go to the cathedral. I think
Yeah, that sounds about right because that was when back in the elevated track days,
the
right?
elevated track days, yeah. And then I think my mother thought like, I don't think this girl was going to school and started driving me to school.
Even
And I
better,
was
mom.
going to school, but there were some days I was just like, I'd meet up with
I
all
skipped a
some
lot of
bad
school.
influences like Tanya, and we go other places.
Skipped a lot of school. I had perfected calling the office and pretending to be my grandmother
Got it.
until the one day. So this is what I would do. Because I was going to meet Morel. That was the whole point.
Oh,
I was going to meet him. So I would go to a payphone back in the day when there was still a payphone, get my little
okay.
dime, and I would call the office. So I knew to call before like say 7 o'clock. So I
Mhm.
would, call at like 6:45, whatever, would put on an accent, the whole nine. Girl, I had it down pat, let me tell you, until the one day
Mhm.
the office administrator was out and they had someone do her job for her. Like they had someone cover her
Mhm.
phone, and that lady made the absence calls earlier than usual. So they called the house. My mother was at work, so I never tried pretend to be my mom. I always pretended to be my grandma for whatever reason. I just
Uh-huh.
pretended to be my grandma. And they called and told my grandmother that I was marked absent
Super.
before I could call. They were like, I just talked to you. I was like, oh crap. Did I go home? No. I was like, might as well stay out if I'm gonna get in trouble.
Don't even know. We would probably go to each other's houses. I didn't have a boyfriend really back then. I don't think. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know which
Anytime
we
I skipped school, there was always a boy involved.
we did group things. It wasn't just like one of us. It would be like a group of us going to do something like just dumb. And
Go
obviously,
downtown, go downtown.
well, not that early, but we would go to some one of our houses and then we would like go downtown or something like that, or go get beer. It would be something stupid.
I definitely had a couple of underage beverages on those skipping days, not with Morel, but
Mhm.
yeah, that was my whole thing is I would skip school, but I was still like crushing all my classes. So
I still did well too. It wasn't failing. Anyway.
yeah.
So anyway, RIPTA, use the common sense, save those school buses for those kids so they can get to and from school.
Maybe they need a marketing revamp. Like first of all, you got RIP in your name.
Mhm.
Take that out because you're manifesting RIP. Revamp it. Call it something else.
But I need the mayor and the city to bring back that Kennedy Plaza. I know they want to move it to someplace over Brown, and we're going way long over this, but I know they want to move it to someplace closer to Brown. But Kennedy Plaza is an excellent hub, in my opinion.
First of all, it's close enough to Brown. Make those privileged Ivy Leaguers walk their tail over to Kennedy Plaza like I would have had to do when I was in college.
And
It
there are
is it
buses that
is
go up there.
less than a half a mile.
I don't understand it. And the thing, like I said, the things that they would do, it was fun. You'd go to get on the bus, but no, they would have like some band or something out there playing. You'd be like, well, you know what? I'm gonna hang out at Kennedy for a little
But
bit
why move it? Why not keep Kennedy and add another?
and clean it up. Just clean it
Clean
up.
those buses is what they need to do. Clean the buses. Just hit it with the steamer real quick on them little fabric seats.
Have plastic seats. I mean, I don't need to be that comfortable, but plastic seats are easier to clean.
I just
I don't like fabric seats.
the thought of what is on those fabric seats
Mhm.
is frightening to me. And I was like, if I sat down, you knew I was tired because I would just stand up because I'm like, I don't want to sit on this fabric seat that looks like it was put on in 1972 and never changed.
So remember we went to see that Monet exposition in Boston when it
Yeah.
the 3D thing, and remember I got the little pillow?
Yeah.
That's what I would use on the buses.
You had a little seat cushion. Oh, I like that.
If I didn't have the seat cushion, then I would take newspaper from, like, Providence Business Journal. That was my because they had thick paper, put that down.
I never take Ripta anymore. I Uber or I drive my car.
Yeah. I take it sometimes, like, if I'm taking the kids downtown for, like, an event, like Waterfire, I took the bus downtown because I knew that didn't wanna be bothered with the driving or whatever, but I didn't stay that long as it was. I ended up leaving, like, around 9. So that was the first time in a long time that I took the bus, and again, get rid of those cloth-covered seats. They're disgusting.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Anyway.
So it's back to some Rhode Island news. So we were having this discussion about the Real Housewives of Rhode Island, which is just like coming very soon. Andy Cohen has been doing a lot of promo for this show, and he's like very excited. He says it's extremely Italian. It's going to be like the New Jersey version of
Mm.
Rhode Island. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. But one thing that bothers me about them focusing so much on the Italians in Rhode Island, in New Jersey to an extent too. Let's talk about the racism of Italian people, especially here in this state, who usually come with a very thick accent, which is crazy to me. Usually come with and I know that's not what their focus is going to be because it's all going to be somewhat fake. Because I think there's a regular in New Jersey who's supposed to be very good friends with one of the cast members here, which is all kind of like, it's all fake.
It's
But
convenient. That's convenient.
yeah, she's going to introduce this new cast or whatever. When we don't even know who all the women are who are going to be on this show. It's been a lot of speculation. But again, I know it's entertainment and I know that. But one of the things that just irks me about Italian Rhode Islanders is their love of the mafia and how they promote that. And even New Jersey Real Housewives to an extent, they don't outright come out and say it, but it's always alluded to. You remember how Teresa was in New Jersey, how she was paying everything in cash. What's your business, ma'am? I mean, she was paying like for houses and car, everything in cash.
But that's why she went to prison.
Right? Exactly. And we don't but when you listen to Italian people talk about the mafia, it's with this absolute admiration. But if you talk about a black gang, a Jamaican gang, or an Asian gang, they're savages. Well, what do you think the mafia is? You think that they kill
Yeah.
people, they disrespect areas, they make people pay. There's nothing sexy. We've made it sexy. There's nothing sexy about the mafia. And let me tell you, I love a good Scarface. I mean, not Scarface, Al Capone movie.
Mm.
Untouchables, loved it, loved it. But and hearing Andy Cohen just hype it up about them being the real Italians and they're this close knit, community. And I hate that, especially in this state specifically, that is considered a feather in the cap. It shouldn't be. It's
So
violent.
you've been here longer than me, right? You've been here for decades. I've been here for just about 6 years.
Yeah, too.
So everyone I know who's Italian from Rhode Island did not perpetuate those stereotypes. Like
Oh,
my
good.
good Judy, Lisa does not, she doesn't do that. You know what I mean? You met Lisa at my birthday party. She had the bomb Gucci suit on with the glasses and she was cute and everything like that. But Lisa never did that. And I've known her for 15 years. And
Mhm,
then I had a manager named Stefano who was from Rhode Island. You don't get really more Italian than Stefano.
mhm.
Like he was really like first generation. And I think Lisa might be first or second generation too. Stefano he never did that. Like he never postured like that. So I gotta say, and those are just two people that I know, two Italians that I know, like,
Mhm.
personally, they never postured like that. But what I will say is that a lot of that, the mafia being cool, that's fueled by outsiders too, because
Mhm.
they're hyping it. You know what I mean? My
Mhm.
husband loves a mob movie. It's just like you're saying, you love Al Capone. Like
Okay,
and
I love
he
movie.
devours it. But
Mhm.
me personally, I get the appeal of it. It's been marketed to us that way, and Andy Cohen is marketing it back to
Mhm.
us that way, which is crazy because as a Jew, you don't want to be stereotyped, but you want to stereotype these people. But it's crazy to me. But I know for me personally, when I watched The Sopranos back again, so during the pandemic, I was binging everything.
Mhm.
That was the most racist show on
Yes.
HBO. That was crazy.
Right. But one of the things I did like about it is that it showed the racism that Italian people have. They hate Black people. And I have very good Italian friends. And like you said, they don't they don't accept that part of the mafia as being something that it's usually older.
Yeah, I don't know any of them.
Yeah, and I feel like you get to a certain age, you romanticize certain things. Like when you hear people talk about like the 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 crime that was going on in Roxbury like 20, 30 years ago. You don't remember how horrible it was. You take certain pieces of it and you say it wasn't that bad. But
Or people are like, yeah, I used to run the streets. That was, when
yeah,
OP
that
and
was
I was,
everybody.
and everyone wants to, oh yeah, I was down with the Hornets and I was down with this and I was down with that.
Exactly.
What I remember is being 13, 14, and my good friends around my age being killed. Like that was horrible. And
Mhm.
like you said, it was romanticized. You know what I mean?
Later.
Yeah, it
In
was
the
made to
moment, it
sound.
wasn't, but at that
Yeah.
time, because I know you cannot tell me you think about, like, Whitey Bulger, he was that whole Irish
Oh
mafia
yeah.
was all romanticized, and then you talk to victims of Whitey Bulger, and that's a whole different story. So, you talk to victims of what was that guy's name? Big guy here, I can't think of his name right
Uh,
now.
Buddy Cianci.
Oh, no, no. Yeah, but him too. Not no, big mafia guy. He was taken down by the FBI out of Boston, and I can't think of his name. Begins with a P, but anyway, I can't think of it. But if you speak to his victims and what was going on in Fed Hill, but I listened to these older Italians, they'd be like, back in my day, Fed Hill, nobody got like robbed or hurt. There were no
It was safer. We had a code. There was a code,
why you lying? Why you
but
lying?
we do that too. We do that too in our
I
community. Like, oh,
mhm.
mothers and babies were off limits, but you killed your
Still
peers.
mothers and babies. Stop playing. When you
Right.
picked up homes and there were mother and babies in those homes,
What
that was
about remember that little girl Tiffany? I forgot her
the
last name,
mailbox.
but that was so horrible on Humboldt Ave.
She was sitting on the mailbox.
She was sitting on like the power box or the mailbox or
Mhm.
something. Yeah, she got
On
killed.
the cell
I
phone.
that like that I remember that. You know what I
Mhm,
mean? And I was a kid back then. But I agree with you and I think that is doing a disservice to
mhm,
even for first of all for your show to be called Real Housewives and half of the shit is fake is comical. It's very ironic. But
mhm.
then to where are the Cape Verdeans? Where are the Spanish women which make up the bigger population of the of Providence. I know it's of Rhode Island, not. So that's the other funny part is that instead of picking a city, they pick the whole state because the state is so small. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like they have Potomac, but then they have, New Jersey, then they have I'm like, what is your how does your naming convention work? Like
mhm,
sometimes you pick a state, sometimes you pick a city. And what are they gonna hold? Quahogs? What are they gonna have in their hand?
ma'am. No, you didn't.
I'm asking for a
You could
friend.
just Family Guy them.
I'm asking for oh my I would love I can't wait for Seth MacFarlane to get his hands on this because he's going to mash it up.
It I would, and again, I know it's entertainment and it's great. I don't know how the money is gonna affect the whole city or how much, they're getting or whatever. Great, that's all well and good, but there's more to is way more to New Jersey than those women.
I
Way
would
more
have thought
to New Jersey
that it
than
would have been nicer to do Newport and then pull some of those women, but they probably were like, we're not doing that garbage. That's trash. He probably had to pivot and just be like Rhode Island and find these other people.
because I feel like with all of the Real Housewives shows, no matter how much money these women claim to have, the only one that I see really making bank is Candy.
Yeah.
I mean, all the other ones,
Cynthia seems
show
like
has made you.
Cynthia has businesses.
She had a yeah, and she had a modeling career, so it wasn't like she didn't come off of anything, but the show has definitely kept them in conversation. They definitely has kept them with money in their pockets. Whereas Candy was, to me, I don't know all of them, even the Beverly Hills women. Yeah, I
Some
mean,
of them are connected to real estate, right? Isn't the Hilton woman connected to real
yeah,
estate?
her husband, they actually had a show where
Selling
it was
Sunset or
her.
something, right? Were they selling Sunset?
No, it could have been. It could have been. What was it? Was Kyle
Yeah,
and her husband, Mauricio, and then their kids. And I think they had
yeah.
like one season or something that they were, that they were doing that. That was corny as hell.
Well, what I will say is they need to figure out a way to incorporate our boy Wale into the show. I don't know how Andy's going to shoehorn him in there, but there's got to be a way that Wale's going to get some shine on the show. I don't think he needs to date any of these women because
No.
we don't know who the
Well, they're
wives are.
supposed to be, well, yeah, I don't know if they're supposed to be married or not, but I just want more for him because I feel like this man needs an HGTV show because
He does. He does.
put
From
some stuff
Love
together.
Island to his own home improvement show, I could see it because he's really great at home
Mhm.
design, home improvement,
Has the
and he's just
personality.
a dapper dresser.
Has the personality. He can definitely.
Yes,
I see him. That's what I'm pushing for him. I feel like none of these hoes deserve him.
that part. That part. I have a perfectly. We have perfectly good daughters. Your daughter's kind of out of it because they're best friends, but my daughter is perfectly available and newly tanned as well. She
Ugh,
she just
I-
got she just
yeah,
got 2-3 shades darker on vacation with me.
but yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this all pans out, and I'm definitely going to watch it because
Yeah, I'll watch. I'll watch
I'll
just to see.
reality shows really don't hold my attention. So I don't know how long I will watch it. The only show that I've watched consistently of that franchise was New York. I used to love New York. And I did watch Beverly Hills for a good long time as well. But over the last couple of years, I haven't really watched it. You know what
Well,
has got
I could care less. I was sitting next to Rothwell or whatever her name is. What's her name? Roswell?
oh Roswell,
Roswell. I was
well,
sitting next to her at a charity event and was like, okay, and
you didn't even know who she
didn't
was.
know and could care less.
Mm. But I liked her when she was on New York.
She was nice. Don't get me wrong. She was nice, but I
Mhm.
was not fangirling or
Yeah,
anything like that.
she's a relative of the Kennedys, right?
Yeah, she's connected to Jackie's ex-husband or something. Because her ex-husband was a Radswell, or was Jackie a Radswell?
I thought Jackie was a Radswell.
Was that her maiden name?
I thought so.
I don't know. Like I said,
I think that was her last name. I think, but I wasn't looking up. But
oh
yeah,
yeah, when she married, she became Onassis. You're right. She's
Kennedy and
can
then Onassis.
Yeah, she was Radswell first.
Hmm.
So again, a mí no importa. I don't.
But she was good when she was on there. That it was really fun. They had crazy people. It was just
I
like,
feel like these are going to be the craziest. I feel
yeah.
like these are going to be next level crazy with the accent.
I'm sorry. Sorry, Rhode Islanders, but who was I with the other? Oh, I'm sorry. What is the podcast that we love? Please don't delete.
Please delete this.
Please delete this. That accent is for real.
It is, and they probably think we sound crazy, but it's a mash of New York and
Yep.
Massachusetts and its own thing. And some of the words, I was just
Things. I was listening to the first of all, I got beef with them because what's the one of the guys' name? They were talking about sinners. And
Bim.
I left a comment. Said, "We got beef. We gotta talk about this."
He didn't like it?
He talked about that one scene in Sinners where he brought all kinda like the spirits from like the future and the past
That
into
was
it.
it was a little disjointed, but I understand why he did it. I
I loved
understand why he
it.
did it, and it was
I
cool.
when I saw
But it
it,
was unnerving.
please, it was unnerving. Oh, I thought it
Yes.
was the most beautiful scene. I put it up there for me, up there with Darth Vader taking his first breath. That's how I felt.
Oh.
That scene. I it was beautiful to me. It was beautiful to me because the way the music connects to our past and then, our present and our future and how he just brought that all together, even because it's something that you don't think about. And he just did not understand it. And he tried not to trash it. He was like, go see it. It wasn't good. But I think maybe you missed out something when you didn't see it in the movies.
Understood it. It was just a lot for me to take in at once. Like for
Yeah.
my mind to shift gears from where the movie started to that. And to me, that scene that was pivotal and important to me in that movie was when they all of the, I guess, vampires were descending upon that, and they were doing the Irish music. They were doing the, and
Mhm.
then and it actually, I think it ended on that scene. I don't know, but it was when they were all outside, and it was like the Irish, the African, all of it. So
Mhm.
I get it. I get it. So yeah,
I got
please delete this. We
listen.
love you. And we still love
We
you.
do. I'm listening, and I was glad to see. I mean, that was their first podcast since they came back off, I guess, off their little vacations, and it was fun listening. But yeah, we got beef. We got beef. What else is going on in Rhode Island? Oh, I thought this was weird. So I was reading that there was a discussion with the Department of Education or the school board members about the Pledge of Allegiance. And I haven't thought about the Pledge of Allegiance in a long time. That is usually it's a requirement for like middle school and down, right? Because I don't think you say
I
it.
definitely did it in elementary. I don't remember
Yeah,
doing it in high school. I
I
definitely did it in elementary
definitely,
school.
yeah, I definitely didn't do it. And so one of the board members was saying that maybe they should get rid of it and concentrate on things that really help the students. And so another member was saying, well, it's one of those things that, especially in this time, that it unifies people under, professing your allegiance and love for the country. And it's just something I hadn't thought about in like so many years. And I don't even know how to feel about it anymore, like the Pledge of Allegiance, because I get what she's saying about it being a unifier, but I don't think it ever really was a unifier so much. And I think when you're young, do you really understand what you're saying when you say you pledge allegiance to the flag? I just thought it was different. I'm surprised that it's something that come up. It was not happy about it. He was just like, this is just a deflection, something to cause a distraction. So again, I wasn't in on this meeting. He tried to clarify and he said he doesn't want people to stop seeing it, that maybe, focus on other things. So I don't know why he brought it up. But then also they're saying that, if you don't want to say the Pledge of Allegiance, you don't have to. You can sit down or whatever. But I cannot imagine a child feeling comfortable doing that.
I mean, I think in this day and age, these kids would be like, I don't want to do it and sit down. Like in 2025, these new people, what are they? Gen Alpha and Gen
Yeah.
whatever. Oh,
Mhm.
I so see them not wanting to do it and not doing it if they don't want to. And then I see, honestly, when I did it as a kid, I did feel like part of something. And so keep in mind, so I was born in 1975, right? Was it the bicentennial? Was that
Yeah.
1976?
6. Yeah.
So I was born in that era when, oh my God, the American flag was everything. Like literally, like 4th of July was big. It was lit. You would wear your red, white, and blue. Like I grew up like thinking our flag was the shit. Like
Mhm.
America. And
Mhm.
I still love America. I still actually, love the flag. And if they said my kids had to do Pledge of Allegiance, because if you think about it, it's like liberty and justice for all. to the republic for which it stands. So that flag is supposed to represent like liberty, democracy, one of the best nations in the world. Like, yes, and we know that, right now we ain't shit. We know that. But we're still America. And I think for context, I just came back from Jamaica. They had their independence celebration on Saturday. And it was Saturday or Friday, one of those days. They were so lit and everything was covered in Jamaican flags. The whole, like, their cities were draped in gold, black, and yellow. I mean, sorry, gold, black, and green. And so as a person whose family comes from elsewhere, those flags are big. If you go to Carnival, you're going to see nothing but flags. Blue Hill Ave right now is covered in flags. They've erected all these street signs with Caribbean flags going all the way down Blue Hill Avenue. A flag is important, and pledging your allegiance to a flag is actually really important. So I can see why it's like, just keep it. And if you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. But a flag can really represent your pride in your nation.
Yeah, I agree. That's not how I was raised at all.
No,
I
I
was raised
know. I
by
know.
ex-Black Panther, and I think I only did 2 years of pledge allegiance when I was in public school. When I went to Catholic private school, we didn't I don't even know why they didn't do a pledge of allegiance. That was kinda weird, that now that I
And well,
think about
Catholic school, they were about God, girl. They weren't worrying about no Pledge of Allegiance. They was
it.
like,
Yeah,
come
we
get this
didn't
Jesus. Come get this Jesus.
always had a because of how it started off very early for me and the things that I was learning. Like I said, we had African American history every Saturday morning with my mom and her friends. And so it is the American flag has always been a conflict for me. Still is to
Mm.
this day. When I see an American flag on a Black man's porch, I understand he could have been a veteran. He was a fighter for this country, but he fought for everyone. And now I can see a flag on a white man's porch,
And
and I
and
don't.
it gives you a different connotation, right?
It makes me feel uncomfortable. And I know now, seeing like I've noticed a lot of flags on trucks, especially in this area, Johnston area, like huge, huge flags makes me feel uncomfortable. It's like you said, it's the representation. And I think a lot of Black people, when they see white people with flags, they feel like, are you including me in that love for your country, or are you excluding me? And a lot of
Hmm.
times it's an exclusion, just how I feel like with these Italians who have a thick accent. You just got here. Maybe, a generation ago. I've been here for generations, and you have no problem with excluding me as not being American or American enough. And I'm as American because you really have taken a lot of Black culture and made it American culture. But I agree, for little kids, that's deep and heavy, even though as a little kid, that's what I was taught. First and second grade, I still stood up. I still put my hand on my chest. And I notice a lot of people still do, like at sporting events or whatever. Most times I will stand up, but I won't do the whole hand on my chest thing, because I don't feel like America deserves all of my allegiance. Till you do right by me, till you do right by my people, no. And you think about all the veterans, all the Black veterans that went out there and fought for this country and died with other veterans who were not of their same color, only to come back and you being denied health care, housing. You weren't treated. You still had to go to the back of the bus. You still were not allowed to buy properties under the GI Bill. There's so much. But again, I know that's heavy. And then I'm thinking, now that I'm saying it out loud, I'm sorry. And I'm like, how I grew up and the things that I knew when I was very young. And I'm like, oh, that's too heavy for young kids. That's the problem.
No, they need to know. They do
They
need
need
to
to
know.
know. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Here I am saying, even though I knew these things, and these things didn't make me racist. They didn't make me hate white people, and I still don't. But in my head now, I have convinced myself, oh, they don't need to know it until they're older. No, they need to know it right away.
And I think for me, the American flag, the ideal should be that I wish we could actually live up to the hype that we put out there. To me, that's what the American flag should be, is that we
Mhm.
really are a good nation, a democratic nation where people have rights and freedoms and all the things that they said that are now being like literally swept away from us and like pulled and like it's like how can you run around with that flag when you're letting fascism happen in this country like right now
Right.
actively in real
But
time.
you
But I still I still feel like the American flag is for Americans. It's for all
Mhm.
Americans, however you got here. You know what I mean? However you got here. So
I still and I get it. My thing is I'm always gonna celebrate the red, black, and green flag
but
before.
I do not have I don't have a flag outside of my house at all. But I did notice that my neighbors who are Latinos put a huge American flag, literally not even on a pole. They tacked it to the front of their house. It goes from the top to the floor to ceiling on their porch. I was like, you're pretty much saying, come get me. Like, why would you put this on your porch? And they could very well be veterans. And my apologies if I misread.
Or be happy to be American, and
They
I am
didn't put it
happy
up. They
to.
didn't put it up until ICE started getting crazy out here. So I
Oh,
think they thought by putting it up, it would be almost like a protection. Like
no. No,
they'll
no,
think
no.
Americans are in here. I'm like, actually, you stick out like a sore thumb because no one else on the street literally has. Like, there's an Irish flag that I've seen up the street. There's like some other
Mhm.
flags. There's not one single other American flag that I've seen on my street other than that house. I'm like, you're actually asking them to come in there and get you. And they're probably here legally. I don't know the people's life story or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I think they thought that it would be a way to deter that type of when actually it's making them probably stick out more.
And I'm very proud to be American, and specifically a Black American.
100%.
Very, very, very proud of the history that Black Americans have contributed to this country. Extremely proud to be an American in that sense. But when I think about the government and I think about the things that it has done, and then the people who come here and who are extremely racist to people who have been here for centuries, and I have a problem. Could you think about it?
We need to take that. We need to take it back. But I do agree. You know, we do have our Black American flag, which is basically black, red, and green. We have our own. There's a Juneteenth flag. There are many flags, but I feel like there is an importance. There is a value to flags and the pride that they instill in people. But I think they should. If you rep a flag, it should be with the positivity of what that nation is supposed to really stand for. And that's the walk that you should walk if you're going to walk around waving that flag. If you see a Trinidadian person, best believe they are repping Trinidad to the fullest. The music, the culture, the people,
Mhm.
the sound. Those Jamaicans, like I said, I saw a little girl. She had her hair bows were gold and green. She had a black dress. She was dressed as a flag. Like the
That's
people were
their country, and they
so
should
proud.
be proud of it. That's their country,
They
in
just
their
got it
independence.
back though. They
They're
just
British.
got it
I
back
know
from
they're
England.
independent from the British, but they always had the pride in their country, whether or not colonizers was there or not. America is a whole different story. That's a different narrative, because we were actually stolen and brought here,
But this is
so
a whole country of immigrants. This is
mhm,
a whole country of immigrants. So
exactly.
that's why we should all be able to, even though we can't
Mhm.
all do it, we should all be able to feel pride in that flag. That should, it shouldn't be
But
like, my God.
it's such a
Yeah,
bad
it
thing.
shouldn't be like something that makes us feel bad, unfortunately. But I would never go anywhere and wave an American flag right now, though I have pride in our country. I would never I avoid telling people that I'm from America when I travel, to be honest with you.
I'm sorry.
I mean, I guess they can piece it together, but I'm
Yeah.
not out here pounding my chest that I'm American when I travel.
I've never been like a big chest pounder. I'm like noticing like some of the commercials now was I forget what truck it was, a Tundra or something, and it was like American. I mean, it was just so aggressive with America.
America.
Who that's for, who that's for, and that's
Yes.
fine. I want to love America like that as well, but then you have to be inclusive. And the thing is that you cannot just love a certain demographic of Americans, because that does not make up America.
Right.
Absolutely doesn't, and you're not even recognizing where your family came from into this picture. So it is. But speaking of trash ass immigrants, let's talk about Dean Cain. This man, Dean Cain, who used to be Superman on the Superman and Lois series. What was it? Clark and Lois, or Lois and
Lois
Clark
and Clark.
series back in the 90s. He went on Fox News and said that he signed up to be an ICE agent.
Crazy.
And that's now, this man is Japanese and white. And we just talked about Victory Day. No
Mhm.
little history, sir. But and that's my problem. It's like so many people who claim to love America love the cruelty of America, because
Mhm.
since this place was founded by colonizers, it has been riddled with cruelty to others. And here we are, 2025, kind of
Even
like,
the original inhabitants of this land can't even get a break. Like,
no,
look at that. Look at that. So, and then the thing with Dean Cain is, first of all, where the hell have you been? I
on
didn't know where this man was. I didn't
no,
know where you were. But apparently you've been tea partying, and I'm glad John Leguizamo called him out. I'm so glad that he called him out. He called our, like,
so
a
I
lot of our attention. And Joy Reid.
for a couple of weeks, it has been, coming up on social media and in the paper that ICE agents was offering $100,000 signing bonus. Somebody was saying that's probably why he did it,
He
because
need the
we
money.
money, but 100,000 signing bonus to kidnap people off the street and cover your faces. And if you don't know anything about history, the idea that whole segment of our country is okay. These are the people that said government oversteps. They don't want too much government. Like, you are okay with people covering their faces and grabbing people off the street. And this is what
Right.
he signed up for. So proud. His little Fox interview, he was so proud. And somebody says he's probably not even going to pass the physical. But if you see some of those ICE agents, I don't think there is a
That
physical.
was going to be my next point. This man doesn't look like he's in the physical
Eh,
condition to
mm-mm.
walk a mile, let alone be chasing somebody.
And cover his face. Because he's the type of hate that these people have for other Americans. And this is what just blows my mind over people who love Donald Trump. Because you want to own liberals, because you want to own, other groups or whatever. It's okay when he talks to us and calls other Americans. You're supposed to be presidents for all Americans. Calls other Americans dogs and vile and disgusting. A president. Never have we had a president say these things out loud and it be okay. And these are okay. And these people go sit up in church every single Sunday and say how they're holier than thou, but you're okay with people grabbing people off the street. But then it turns out that $100,000 bonus is fake.
Of
So
course.
government was offering it, but then so many people signed up. So many people signed up. They're like, oh, okay, we're
Girl,
not
I
giving.
would have signed up. I would have signed up, and I would have been the Underground Railroad. I would have been the 2025 Harriet Tubman. I'd have been like, okay, y'all just be quiet. I got you. I'm about to let you out the back door.
I didn't even think
I
about
would,
that, because it was a hundred
they would have
thousand
had
dollars.
to,
I would have signed
it
up.
would have been treason. It would have been treason.
Yeah, the the idea, sir. You are not even. You are of Japanese descent. What are your parents? But you know what? So many groups come here. Again, I'm gonna go back to the Italians. So many groups come here, and their immediate way to make them feel American is by hating somebody else.
Hmm.
Right.
Putting other groups down and saying that they're less than.
Yep. Exactly. So
Yeah.
here we got freaking ugly ass Dean Cain with his big ass fat head talking about
He
he wants.
definitely looks like he's not well. He looks ill. Like, sir, you might have a heart attack out there. You might want to be careful.
But yeah, so that was my little national news. You have a story that you wanted to tell, because I'm dying to talk about that one too, and I got one
Um,
more.
which one, Sheen?
Yeah. That was wild. I wish I had the video.
So yeah, Sheen pop up in Atlanta, Georgia. Apparently was really well attended, and that caused some backlash because smaller independent black businesses were saying they didn't see that kind of support when they opened their businesses, or the follow-up. So I mean, of course Sheen is huge. They offer cheap disposable fashion. I even have ordered things off of Sheen. I'm sure most of our listeners probably use Sheen as well, but they would just, and I think they even had a band, like they had maybe a marching band or something. They definitely had dancing. It was wild. Like, and of course Sheen did that. Sheen is Asian based. They supplied all that. They paid for all of that. But the backlash from business owners in the area, especially minority business owners, is like, where's the love for us? Why don't you turn up and queue around the corner for us? They boots on the ground. You see them, right? And it was
Mhm,
just apparently it's just a pop up. But look at the
mhm.
dancing. Look at the. I mean, it was, and no disrespect to Sheen, like I'm sure they did their thing, and I'm sure they sold out and had a great response. But it's like, go to your friend's boutique, spread the word. Like, go to these small businesses for local. Let's go back to America. Like, support these businesses that are
Mm,
American based right here in your own backyard, and black and minority or female owned. Like, come on,
yeah.
show that same kind of love.
That was one of the calmer videos actually, because
Oh, they
the
were they
saw you were around the corner, and I get it to an extent because somebody said in the comments, you shop your budget, or to get some of the what is it, fast fashion, Shein is definitely up there, and they don't want to spend a whole lot of money. But
Mhm.
yeah, you have to support, your businesses. My thing with how Atlanta is, to me, is always on a different level. It's like a different planet there. And luckily, there was no fighting. They looked like they were having a good time. So I can't even complain about that. But yeah, you're never going to I don't think you're ever going to get people to show up like that for small black businesses.
Because if you look at the
Unfortunately.
crowd, I did not see any others there at all. Not working there, not
But it's
painted. It was all right.
I did see the video that I just showed. There was, a couple of like young white girls that were in the store
Okay.
because like they only
I
let
missed them.
in at a time. It was two. That is all I saw. But when I saw the one with the long line, again, there's a difference. I get what the people are saying, but you're talking about buying a shirt that's $15 as opposed to 70.
I'd rather spend the 70. And that's my budget. That's my
And
budget.
hey, I rather spend the 15, not necessarily Shein, but I am a clearance rack chick. I am
I
shopping
mean, right.
clearance just about every season for next season or whatever. But I do. So there are certain businesses that, okay, you're offering a $70 sweatshirt, then that's what I'll buy because I want to support your business.
Hmm.
There are hats or whatever. But on a whole, no, I'm not. But I'm not into fashion like that either. I I get what everyone's saying. Most, especially when it comes to clothes. Like I wanted to buy this bag, black owned. I forget. I saw it on Instagram or whatever, and it was $30. And then it was like vegan leather. And I'm like, well, what the hell is vegan leather? Because you
It's
see that
pleather,
all the
girl. It's pleather.
right. And you see that all the time. And I'm like, ugh, I don't I don't want a vegan leather bag.
But it's for
I
the
don't like
animals. No animals were harmed in the making of that bag. You want leather. You want
some
coat.
vegan leather, and it doesn't necessarily have to be Coach because I like Coach leather, but I don't like Coach bags. The other bags with the C's or I don't like those. I don't like anything with somebody's name just all over it. I like it as just very plain. If it's on the buckle, I can deal, but stretched across it, no, I don't want it. But so I didn't end up buying it because I didn't know how it's going to look when it gets to me, because a lot of times it looks really good online. If I can go in there and touch it and see it or whatever and say, you know what, this is some decent vegan leather. but, half the times you can't. I'm not giving a line out the door and around the block. That's crazy. And that was a Thursday.
And
That
no
was
one's
a
saying don't
Thursday.
do it for Sheen. They're just saying show us that kind of love. I did see something similar. There was a
Yeah.
black owned flower shop that just opened in the city. Hold on, let me grab my tablet so I can get the name of that flower shop. I loved like how much I saw that come up in my timeline that this
Mhm.
woman's flower shop. And I hope that people continue. I hope that when people get married, when they need like, big flower orders, that they go and they patronize this business and they keep it in business. I think it was called Bloom. Let me look. But to that point, when I go somewhere, I will buy something from a black owned business, even if I like sight unseen, just because I'm like, you know what? It helped them in some kind of way. Even if I never use that item. Like
Mhm.
I just sometimes if I have the opportunity to support a black or female business, I will just do it just to do it. That's just kind of and I get it. Like you also don't want to waste your money and you want to be able to get quality, but I would have to say most of the black owned businesses that I patronize, I've only had one bad incident when the product came in and it was like not great, but I reported it and they gave me my money back and let me keep the item.
Nice.
Yeah.
That was good. That's very good customer service.
It was. And I was like, that's because
When it comes to a service, I'm more apt to support. When it comes to it's especially online. I'm really stingy online
Mhm.
because
Well,
I've
especially
been
on social media, you gotta be
yeah, I've
super careful.
burnt too many times. You have a brick and mortar, I will show up.
Me too. And I'm
You
buying
know,
shit I don't need. Candles, you
It's-
know,
I'm not buying shit
napkins.
I don't need.
I am.
If I'm buying it, I'm buying it because I need or I want it. Not
Okay.
necessarily need it. I'm buying it because I want it.
So the floral shop is in Mattapan and it's called
Uh-huh.
Boston Flower Company. So yeah, go out and at least go in there and buy something. Your kids got dances coming up, buy a boutonniere, a corsage, something like that. Just like go and show support. Like flowers is a that's a great business. It's and I don't know I never knew a black owned flower shop in all my time of growing up in Boston. I've never known one. Was it not Olympia? That was the only flower shop that I knew in the South End, and it was not black owned. And
Was
it's
that in the
closed now. It was yeah, it was on Mass Ave, the intersection of Mass Ave and Washington. And that's where we would go. That's where we got our, flowers for the prom and things
they
like
have some
that.
pretty arrangements too.
I mean,
So
gorgeous. And the prices are reasonable. Not that they
oh, the
shouldn't be
prices are
competitive.
reasonable. Well, they are
Really
competitive.
beautiful.
You want to be competitive without alienating people from buying it. And then also the thing that just drives me crazy. Don't haggle with black owned businesses. If that's the price, that's the price.
And if you
Because
don't want to pay it, don't pay it.
if you would not do that to any other person selling it, don't think that just because the person is the same color as you that you can get a discount. There's no discount. Just pay them what they need to be paid. I hate that.
What they have valued their product at, because what you have to understand, especially about a lot of black businesses, is often these are creatives and they've made their product, so the amount of manpower that goes into sourcing the materials, sitting down
Mhm.
and making the product. One of my former classmates, she just started a coquito business and it's called afrito. So it's a mashup of African and coquito. It's called afrito, and so she has her own coquito brand.
Mhm.
I'm like, go out there and support them. You can find them on
Mhm.
Instagram at
That's the
Afrito.
drink.
It's a drink. It's and so usually around the holidays, your Dominican friends will be or your Haitian friends will have cremas and your Dominican friends will have
Cynthia.
coquito. The same thing. It's the same thing. And so my friend offers this all year round and she actually has flavors too.
Oh, really? That sounds good because I love it.
Yeah.
I love,
So
and that's something I look forward to around Christmas time is getting
yeah,
that
so
from my
keep that in,
friends.
keep that in mind. And the reason why it's so important, and I kind of drive the point home of supporting Black businesses, is because you have to think about the economic dollar. When you think about finance, it's like keeping that money in the community. That's a big problem for us. Usually, our dollars change hands back into mainstream finances way sooner than other dollars. Our dollar doesn't circulate long enough in the Black community. And that's why we continue to have issues with poverty and underserved communities. If you could keep
And we
that
don't have
money,
enough businesses in the actual community, whereas this one is actually in. I mean, when it's online, that's one thing, but that's not really helping the whole community as a whole. It's helping that vendor. But
it's
when
helping
you
that
have
vendor, but that vendor might have kids and that money might go to their. This how I'm thinking, like, oh my God, I just helped a Black kid go to college because I bought a shirt from their mom that I didn't need, but that money all adds up. And maybe that kid went to basketball camp or they went to college or that woman bought a house with those finances. So even though it's not my immediate community, it's my overall community. So that's what I think of when I support Black
Yeah, I
businesses.
think about the community as a whole because when you have housing that doesn't support the community and then you have businesses that don't support and they take their money to another community, then you have a problem with inside. You think about like Mattapan, they're they have a lot of businesses in Mattapan Square. That money goes to help not just that one child going to college, but a multitude of children, a multitude of adults when that money goes back into the business or goes back into affairs inside that community. So it's always good to your local corner store. People don't think about that as being productive, but that helps you get money from the city for your businesses. But if you get
Hmm.
money from the city and you live Methuen, that's not helping. That's not
Yeah.
helping. Really need to really think about supporting those brick and mortars that are in your community because it does help. And speaking of like, these corporations that you spend money on and you get nothing in return. I was just reading a story about California suing Walmart.
What's up with that?
Was doing after and I think you probably remember this. They were selling products like their bakery and their meat products that weighed less than what they were ringing up for at the counter. And I remember this after COVID. A lot
Yeah,
of
they
people
had their thumb
they
on the scale.
it on Instagram. No, they just had a different amount. Like, so say it would weigh in at 2.5 pounds or something like that, and you'll be charged for it being, I mean, no, it would weigh in at 2.5 pounds, but then you'd go home and weigh it, and it was probably like 0.98. So
That's
they
what
were,
thumb on the scale means.
yeah,
It's a colloquial, like,
yeah.
especially in fruits and vegetables. Mm.
Families with children and you go and you buy a hamburger and you're spending $8 thinking you're getting 2 pounds and you're not even getting a pound, you
Yeah.
know. And so the state of California sued, Walmart for this because this specific was to that state. So I don't know if other states kind of looked into it. So they're getting 5.6 million. But think about the families that were affected by this. What are they getting?
There was a class
Sorry.
action suit, actually. So, but you have to sign up for it. There's a class action suit. I know
Right,
for
but
the
even
fruit
for class
vegetables,
action suits, how much do you get?
not much.
You're not getting what you paid out.
And
You're not getting
you
what
have
you
to
paid.
prove it, right? So if you can prove it with receipts, like who has their receipts from 2021, unless you're really good, with the spreadsheets or whatever. But there's usually like a flat amount. It's probably like $25, $50, something like that you get.
We, the consumer, we pay for this, and then we
Yeah,
get nothing in return. Now the city where I mean, they can actually because there was a class action suit we North Providence had against Google. So no, I didn't get any money in my hand, but we got new parks. We got new schools built. So it did turn out that,
That
we
good
got
Google
something from that. So
money.
they will. But personally, you don't. And this is where I'm saying where this is when the American flag should mean something because we're all Americans. And then we have this corporation doing this to all Americans because it didn't matter what race you were, what town you came from, or whatever. They did it to over 280 Walmart stores in California.
Well, hopefully
And it
California
did
will
it.
use that. Yeah, we'll use that money. So here's the
Yeah.
thing. This
Oh, they will. They will.
how we can bring it all full circle before we wrap. Rhode Island should sue Walmart and restore the RIPTA system. See, I just solved it.
They should. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's a suit in there because we all witnessed to a lot of these things happening. And I didn't know that they were, sometimes it'd be like, some of them were so egregious. I'm like, I wonder if they did something like, blaming the customer. No, blame these goddamn corporations. They get
Yes,
away with a lot. And what was it? 5.6 million to settle it? That's nothing to Walmart, who doesn't even want to pay its employees a
a
living
fair
wage.
wage.
5 point, come
Yeah,
on.
a drop in the
Come
bucket.
on. Let's exactly. So anyway, support your black businesses, support them, your brick and mortars. Go out there, try not to be the one caught on film going crazy over fucking Sheen in the store. The
It
dancing took me out. But anyway, I'm glad they was enjoy that day because we need as
was.
much as we possibly can. So till next time, we will wrap this episode up that you guys are going to be getting in like probably 15, 20 minutes. I know we're late, but we had a busy weekend. So
But you know where to
we're doing
find
it on a
us.
Monday.
You can find us on social media.
Yep.
You can find us on Instagram and you can find us on Facebook. Sheeta, where will you not find us?
You will not find us on TikTok. We are still boycotting that place.
But if you want to listen to full
Not going to do it.
episodes, if you want to listen to full episodes, YouTube, Apple Podcast, Prime, wherever podcasts are heard. But for now, not on TikTok. And if you ever, wake up on Monday and there's no new episode, listen to an old one. Run it back.
Yeah. I mean, this is late, but we're going to be out there. We still made our Monday. We still
That's
made our
right.
Monday.
Right.
Wait. All right.
All
So
right.
until next time.
Until then,
Enjoy the rest of the week and have a peace out.
peace.